Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon all of you. Hello, Illinois. I am Christopher Nevares Asdar. I am one of the Census Fellows for the Illinois Muslim Civic Coalition, as well as the Council for American Islamic Relations, also known as CARE Chicago. Welcome. You are watching Muslims Collaborify on CAN TV 21. We are also streaming online on CAN TV/hotline. Join us for the next 25 minutes as we talk about one of our great partners, Ojala Foundation. Ojala is a Latino Muslim foundation here in Chicago. And I am very honored to be joined by Raul Gonzalez and by Christopher Abdul Karim Pavlicek. Did I get that?
You got it.
I got it. Awesome. Alhamdulillah. Okay. So they're part of Ojala, and they'll talk to us a bit about the organization so that our viewers are aware. And I actually met both of them almost a year ago at Mass ICNA, where I attended a few Latino Muslim workshops during the convention. And I've also had the great honor of joining them a few times as they do one of the initiatives that they hold, which is Neighborly Deeds, and we'll talk about that in a bit. And so I've not seen them in a few months, actually, so I'm very glad to see you guys again.
Good to see you.
So as we look into there we go. So our viewers have seen this slide quite a few times, and so it's highlighting the diversity of the Muslim population here in America. And so you'll see at the top right, we have our Latino, East Asian, and other, which is significant enough to have its own sliver of the pie. And so ISNA estimates that there are around 50,000 to 200,000 Latino Muslims in America. And that for a lot of our viewers and for a lot of people that come across Latino Muslims is a surprise at first. And a lot of times those that are aware of this growing population, it's only hearing about it, right? And so many times they don't have the opportunity to actually interact with the population. So I guess we'll go ahead and get started. I'll stop talking for a bit and let them take the show. And so if either of you want to start us off and just tell us a bit about what Ojala Foundation is, tell us a bit about its history, when it was created, why it was created, and also some of the programs that you offer. So either one, take it away.
Ojala Foundation has been around for just under 2 years now. And it as an organization, we have 2 years, but it's a culmination of years, decades actually, of different work from different Latino and Latino Muslims in the Chicagoland area. Previously, we had the Latino Muslims of Chicago, of which 3 or 4 of the founding members of that have become part of Ojala. So we keep the connection going from the history, so everybody's working together. And just to provide services that are specific to if you want, like a niche community, right? Mm-hmm. Because what happens a lot of times is when we enter Islam, we come to a masjid, and it's a wonderful feeling, but it's very foreign. So while our hearts may have been opened to this experience, it becomes a difficulty when you try to bring your family to these events, right? So what we looked at with Ojala was like, it's time for us to have our own place, not to be separate, but to cater specifically to the needs of our community, to offer things in the Spanish language for one, to offer events that are more inclined, with like our cultures, right? Mm-hmm. And although I myself, I'm not Latino, right? Mm-hmm. But my children are Latino and wives Latina, so I've been adopted by the community since I was a teenager. So right. It's just the foods, the way you talk, the atmosphere, the familial relations. It's important, and it's very different from people coming from another nation, mm-hmm. right? And if you look at like Chicago itself, right? Chicago is more likely 40% Latino, right? So who is catering to the Muslims that are coming from this community? Mm-hmm. So we decided, it has to be us. It has to come from us. And it has to be a long-term project, right? We can't just expect that this is not fast food. We're not just going to pull in and get everything we want. Like, it's going to take generations. Mm-hmm. But we have a long-term plan to offer something that's going to just stabilize people and help those that are new to the religion and walk them kind of along the path. And I think, Raul is a perfect example of that himself.
Inshallah, God willing. And then, Raul, do you want to tell us a bit about some of the programs that you've offered throughout the year as we're getting close to the end?
Well, Ojala Foundation has a number of things that we offer the people. We have classes, halakha for the women. We have classes for men as well. We're deeply involved with the feeding the needy and helping the needy, in not just with food and with clothing and tents and these things, but the mission of Ojala Foundation, we are a dawah organization. We believe in the importance of spreading the truth of Islam. It's very concealed. The truth of Islam is very concealed in the modern and common media, in the media, and so we want to let the truth be known. And a lot of these people on the street, that we deal with, their hearts is not just, they're not just looking for food and for clothes. They're looking for a healing of the heart. And inshallah, Allah Azza wa Jal gives us the information in the Quran and inspires us to go out and to help these people. And it's very heavy on my heart to do so, very heavy on the heart of all the members of Ojala Foundation. And this is just one aspect of Ojala Foundation. We try to get the community together every month in different locations all across the city, all across the suburbs. So we're sometimes we're in west side of Chicago, sometimes we're in MCC, sometimes we're in Bridgeview, sometimes we're all over the place, and we do potlucks in an attempt to gather the people together of like mind. And we'll have a speaker, but it's not about putting on a show. It's about getting the people, the unity of the Jamaat, of the community together. And it's so important, and it's a very, very beautiful thing. Alhamdulillah.
Inshallah. So again, you're watching CAN TV, Muslims Collaborate, CAN TV 21. So also you could see us on cantv.org/hotline. And then again, today's discussion, we have the Ojala Foundation. We have Christopher Abdul Karim and Raul. And they're telling us a bit about the organization. And if you want to go ahead and join the conversation, go ahead and give us a call at 312-738-1060. I guess next what we'll talk about, you both kind of already started touching on it, and then I mentioned it earlier. But I would say one of the initiatives that I know the foundation most from is neighborly deeds, right? Which you'll both be able to talk a bit about where the idea came from, and then also the evolution of it, because I know that there's been an evolution on where you get supplies, routes, stuff like that, and also the way that the volunteers organize everything. So if you guys want to go ahead, and then we'll go ahead and show some pictures from the group. Yeah, so go ahead and get it started.
Alhamdulillah. So the Neighborly Deeds Initiative, it's been on the hearts of all of us at Ojala Foundation. We see the need of the miskin. We go home every night and we're warm and we eat our dinner and we're with our family and we're very comfortable in our home. But to get to our homes, we have to pass through places where the miskin, where the needy are congregate. So many. We pass by this place called Tent City. It's one of the places we've been feeding over the year, and a bunch of other places. And it saddens the heart that these people are in this condition. The name Neighborly Deeds was actually from Surah Ma'un, where it talks about neighborly needs. Okay, but so we turn it to Neighborly Deeds because it's the least that we can do. It's the least we can do to be neighborly. It's a calling of all Muslims. It's a calling of all Muslims to be neighborly and to be human to other people. Just because they're in a bad situation doesn't mean that anyone has the right to look down or frown upon these people, and they're hungry and they're cold. I mean, it's wintertime now. They're out. This is Chicago. It's cold. I don't want to go outside. You know. And subhanAllah, most of these people have nowhere to go inside. You know, they have to go to gas stations and to take baths and to clean themselves or wherever, and then to get the food they have to stand in line, and I mean it's a horrible thing. And personally, me in my life, you know, I've had ups and downs before Islam, you know, and I found myself in that situation, and so I understand the need, because I went through that need, you know. And alhamdulillah, Allah Azza wa Jalla in His infinite wisdom and His infinite mercy has raised me above that station. But He didn't raise me above a station to forget that station. He rose me above that station so I can come back and help that station and those in that stage of their lives, you know, just as all Muslims are supposed to do, to help the needy, the miskin, the orphans, the widows. That's who these people are. That's who these people are. They're the forgotten people of Chicago. Not just Chicago, all across the country, you know. But we're talking about the Chicagoland area, and so the Neighborly Deeds Initiative was formed out of a need, and we just want to fulfill that need, inshallah.
Inshallah, God willing. Do you want to add anything to that?
Just add, you know, we do bring out, you know, warm meals, home cooked meals, which is something that they're not getting. You know, frankly, like a lot of people come and bring them leftovers. A lot of come, and they bring cold sandwiches and whatnot. And nourishment is nourishment, and it's important and it's good to give, right? But like some home cooked meals, some kind of authentic ethnic cuisine. When we come through with that, I mean, there's a huge portion of the west side of Chicago, right, where like there's a lot of people there that do not have paperwork, right? So they're afraid to go to certain shelters. They're afraid to go to certain authorities for help. So they're out there in negative 20 degrees, freezing to death. So really, you know, with our focus being on the Latino Muslim community, we're focusing on Latinos as well, because we're able to come and speak to them in a language they know, bring them, you know, champorado and mole and you know, food that makes them feel more than just like
cooked food.
It brings something to them. And like, I think something that, you know, we look at, they need clothes, they need tents, they need blankets, food, socks, all of that. I mean, and anybody that wants to contribute to that can contact the Ojala Foundation through our website and our toll-free phone number. But these people have a hole, you know, like they have a void, right? They're suffering more than just these outer things, man. They're going through some really hard times. So just coming and having conversations, even if it's 5-10 minutes every week, it makes a big difference, right? And we've had people just like break down in tears and tell us how, like, you know, that according to them, you know, and God knows best, right? But like they've told us, like, you putting us online to talk to us about our issues. I had a family member that didn't know where I was, and they didn't know my situation, and they saw the video of you guys helping us. You know, I would say all the way in Indiana. Indiana's 40 miles away, but like over in another state, you know. And they made arrangements, and they sent him some money, and he got off of the streets, and he went back to his family. So we've, you know, people need food for sure. They need all these materials, but like some compassion, you know. Because honestly, most of them are just like you and me.
Yes.
It's a matter of like
Just
a couple
circumstances.
Some things happen, you know. Some terrible events took place in their life, and you know, that's what they're being tested with, and it could be any one of us at any given moment.
Yeah, and I think like, and you kind of touched on this earlier while you were describing it, but I experienced this firsthand. I know that actually it was you. I don't know if you remember this moment, but one of the sites that is first visited is Tent City, right? It's by UIC. It's on it's a BP on what intersection is it?
It's off of
Taylor and
94.
Yeah, it's on Desplaines. The BP on Desplaines, but they call it Tent City, and so you have a lot of people living in tents, right? Like a whole block behind the gas station, and so it's off the ramp of the express, and it happens all the time where people will stop pull their car over and then drop a box in the like just on the side of the road, and usually it's like a box of like apples or like you said just leftovers just there, and then they run off, right? And so you could tell that this is not really effective, right? Like it's leaving the human aspect out of it, of just leaving food there and just going out. And like you said, there's a big difference between just simple leftovers or food that someone else didn't want, when you compare that to food that while you guys are handing them out, you're smelling the trays and you're like, this smells good, right?
Yeah.
They kind of want to take a bite, right? Because it's right. You take a bite, right? Like just because it's good homemade food, right? And that's like
we give them what they want, what we
exactly
want, what we will eat.
exactly, and that's sunnah. That's the way of like
Yes.
the prophet, peace be upon him.
What you want for yourself.
Exactly. And then there's also just such power in the dawah, like spreading the message of not walking around with just pamphlets, right? And trying to like teach and preach about Islam to all the individuals that you're interacting with. But instead it's this slow progression where they see you so often that you're there just to help and say hi, right? That at some point they ask themselves, oh, where are you from? What organization? Or why do you do this, right? And then that opens up the conversation to, oh, like we're Ojala, like we're a group of like serving Latino Muslims. And then that brings more questions where even our own, like our own Ummah, our own community of Muslims, they go, Latinos? But
Yes.
they're Latino Muslims, right? And then that opens another
Now.
conversation, because then it's exposing people to the diversity of the community, and that it's not just Arabs and South Asians that are all the Muslims, right? That the community is very diverse. And then you'll even have, for example, one of the other interactions is non-Muslim brothers coming up, and after you hand them food, they'll say, Alhamdulillah, praise be to God, right? And they're not Muslim themselves, but they don't realize all of the reward that there is in them thanking God in this way, and all all the good deeds that are coming from just simple utterance of the word. And so that's what I really find a lot more effective in the way that you work.
Something you said about the tents. There, people. I don't want to talk about other people. I want to talk about us. When we go, we don't just drop it off outside the fence. We go in the fence. We go in there. Nobody wants to go in there. Rats, bees, dogs. I thought it was a chihuahua. I was gonna pet it.
Yeah.
No, don't pet it. It's a rat. So
They're massive.
They're massive.
They're
Remember,
just running
they run across our feet.
Yeah,
Subhanallah. I dropped my phone. I thought one was gonna make a phone call. Subhanallah. But we even go. There was a huge tent about the size of this room, double tent. I went inside the tent with the brother because I want to reach out to the brother. And sadly enough, not too long after that, he was shot and killed on that very location. So it's a place, we go to places where a lot of people don't want to go. They refuse to go. And there's a lot of people who want to help, but they don't want to go to these places. So Alhamdulillah, Ojala Foundation, we ask the people, send the donations. Send the donations. You will see your money being given, not physically the money, but the resources that we get from the money, from the donations. You will see it because we go live and we show the people. Okay, a lot of people are scared to go to these places under these bridges and these viaducts. It's a lot of drug use. There's a lot of alcohol use. There's a lot of things that the common man stays away from. Alhamdulillah, we go in there. We go in there because it's a need. It's a need. Dawah shouldn't be left at the door.
Yeah.
Dawah should be brought into the home, And sadly enough, that's where they're living right now. So we want to bring it into their home. We're not scared to go in there, sit down with them. It's the common man. Islam is for the common. The Quran was sent for the common man, for everybody. But it wasn't hidden by the chiefs, the priests, because there is no priesthood in Islam. It's for everybody. It's why the ranks, if the imam falls out, the next guy behind him steps right up. All right, because this is the teachings of Islam, and Islam demands that we help the needy, the help, even if it's to give them a blade of grass. Subhanallah, and to feed the needy. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, it is as if you fought in jihad all night. Subhanallah, for feeding someone.
Yeah.
For helping the needy, this is so little. How many times do we not finish our meal and scrub the food into the garbage? These people are jumping into garbage dumpsters to get food out. We can't see that. Ojala Foundation has a heart for the common man. So we go out there and give them a tray of food. Like the brother said, a warm, good home cooked meal. That's something that we would eat, and we do. We do. We make extras so that we can eat. As well. But it's a need that has to be fulfilled. And so anybody who's listening, if you would like to send a donation to ojalafoundation.org.
Yes.
Okay, and alhamdulillah, whatever you can send, you will see us giving the people the food and the resources that you paid for. Alhamdulillah.
I think we had a caller. I don't know if they're still on the line. Yeah. All right. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, hi.
Hi, I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, as a non-Latino Muslim, how can we build bridges with the Latino Muslim community?
That's a great question. Thank you so much.
What was
So it was as a non-Muslim or as a non-Latino Muslim. How can she and others build bridges with the community? So if either of you want to take that away.
Well, I would say, first of all, Ojala Foundation, we've been spending a lot of time talking about the social work that we do, which is not only the work with the homeless, but we also do a lot of work with ex-gang members. That's a segment of what we do, right? But
Prisoners.
the Latino Muslim community is it's expansive, right? So we cover like a certain niche, but then you have brothers like yourself. You're educated. You're a college guy. We have a lot of brothers and sisters that are very educated, that are very from a different segment of society than myself and Raul. So what the beauty is like, okay, we're covering one aspect of the society which needs our help. But then we have other brothers and sisters that are like in the business world and they're educated and they're creating mentorship programs so that the younger brothers and sisters that are coming in, we have programs now for them, to move ahead, to get your education, to get, a trade, to get something to build your life, to take your family to another level along with your faith, but now you have an education, now you have a career. So how can those bridges be built, right? With many different Islamic centers in the Chicagoland and then in the metro area, we established like these community potlucks. So what we'll do is we'll gather as many people from our community as possible to come to, say, ICCI on Belmont, Islamic Center, Community Center of Chicago, the Muslim Community Center of Chicago on Elston Avenue, the Chicago Islamic Center on 63rd and Holman, Mosque Foundation, all these different Islamic centers, Turkish Islamic Center, they invited us, Al-Nahda and Worth. What they do is they invite us. We give a little presentation about what we do, who we are, what we're doing, and how we can collaborate. And the beautiful things that have come from that is just in the last 2-3 months, like we had the, I believe it's the Islamic Center of Wheaton. They prepared a whole series of meals and packages for the needy. So we collaborated with them. They prepared the stuff, and we were able to help distribute it with them. And we did this with the Muslim Students Association of UIC as well, the previous week. And we've done it with several different Islamic centers and different charitable organizations. So the main way of building the bridge is just to educate. If you would like to arrange for us to come to your Islamic center, and we can put on a presentation about what we're doing. And nearly every time that we do that, we wind up with somebody from that community accepting Islam. Because now they see people like them that they can talk to. Like just the other day, I found out about a couple in Bolingbrook, and they have a very similar background to some of us. And it's like, it's such a miracle to see somebody come from, and I don't like to give this, like, it becomes a stereotype that we're all coming from the streets. We're not, right? But there's a segment of us that are, right? So, like, to see somebody come from that and to change their life and to be, like, teachers in an Islamic school, to be, like, very active in the community, it's a beautiful thing to see that transformation. Because The opposite of that transformation is the people that we're servicing on the streets a lot, right? It's people that didn't get that opportunity, that didn't see, that this is a path for me, right? You grow up on one block, and that's all you know is this little neighborhood, and you don't know about these options like, man, I could be a lawyer, I could be a plumber, I could be this, that, and the other. All you see is like the guys on the block, that's what I'm gonna do.
Right.
And it's the same thing for the ladies, So just having that opportunity to expose ourselves to the broader reality, right? Like this isn't what you're limited to, this little box. Like this whole world is vast.
Mm-hmm.
You could wind up in Pakistan or Nigeria or Arabia or whatever,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we're running out of time, but thank you so much for coming. Because we could just talk all night, right? But like they said, to reach out to them on their website as well as their Facebook page for anybody that's interested in donating their money, their time, their talent in any of the initiatives or any ideas, or for example, like they said, inviting Ojala to do a presentation. I know I've mentioned it to you guys a few times, but inshallah, God willing, I'll have you over at UIC. I'll have my mom make some zabiha halal chicken tamales, and we'll do it at the Latino Cultural Center, and we'll introduce the UIC population to Latino Muslims. But so yeah.
The mascot. I forgot
Oh
to
yeah,
mention.
yeah. Go ahead.
We do have coming up the Islamic conference this coming weekend, the Mass conference, and we're going to be putting on 2 days of presentations. One day is going to be in Spanish, and we have some amazing speakers coming, and they're going to be talking about the Islamic roots, in the Spanish in the Latino culture, which I think is going to be great for people's friends and family that may think of it as a foreign thing. You're going to find out like
Introduced to it.
over 25% of like the Spanish language has roots in Arabic and the Muslims, right?
Yeah, all the connections.
And then the second day is like focusing on English, but the convert community, if you will.
Yeah, and so inshallah, as a coalition, we're excited and looking forward to in the future working more with Ojala and amplifying all the work that you're doing so that the community is aware. And then also as a coalition looking to hit the intersection of the Latino and the Muslim community, which is this intersection of both the religious and an ethnic cultural minority, right? Inshallah. So again, thank you so much for joining us. This was Muslims Collaborify on CAN TV 21. I'm Christopher Nevares Azdar with the Illinois Muslim Civic Coalitions. My guests tonight were Christopher Abdul Karim Pavlicek. There we go. And Raul Gonzalez. Thank you so much for coming. And then if you are interested, please visit our website at www.ilmuslimciviccoalition.org or email us at info@illinoismuslims or ilmuslimciviccoalition.org. And then join us next week at 7:30 on Monday, inshallah, God willing, for our last episode of the year. We'll be working with more, we'll be looking at other community influencers and leaders. Thank you again. Remember, collaborate, amplify, and build civic power. Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon all of you, and have a great night.